Hello there, my name is Mrs. Hobbs, Acting Head of Department for Art and Design at the Willink School. And what I'm going to do is share with you the outline of the A-level Art and Design course and also A-level Photography. So for Art and Design, we welcome students for the Art and Design principle, but also Art Textiles. So those that are coming from Art Textiles GCSE, this might be something of interest to those as well. So the summer homework for the art students will develop an art journal. So there are a series of themes and titles that students can work from, but how they approach them is entirely up to them. So it's a very much an independent mini module. Students are able to explore illustration, digital media, digital painting, textiles, photography, and they can mix and match that as much as they like throughout the journal piece itself. Those coming from the textile backgrounds, typically we would expect to see more of a textiles influence, but that doesn't mean to say that they can't sort of branch across back into the art aspect of it as well. Year 12, we develop a series of skills workshops. Some workshops are familiar skill sets that they would have built upon in GCSE, others will be new. And this also applies to the art textile students as well. So whilst they would have an overarching theme such as lino, for instance, they can choose whether they're going to take that down a fabric manipulation route or whether they're going to do it down a more traditional art method route. Moving on from year 12, they then develop an independent module. So that's April of year 12 going through into July of year 13. And during this independent module, students hopefully should have experienced a wide range of skills and techniques and processes, and they can then take those forward and play to their strengths. So if they're more of a clay 3D minded student, then this can be heavily influenced within the module. Like I said, if they're more textiles orientated, then they can start to play to those strengths. But the course itself, as it is an art and design AQA course, they do have to demonstrate the ability to apply two disciplines. But how we structure the course means that they will meet that. So if it's photography, for instance, they can have photography and textiles, or it might be illustration with lino, for instance. So because of the way the course is developed, they are able to demonstrate that. Here are some of the examples of current Year 12's work, moving from photorealism painting to lino onto paper, lino onto textiles, free machine embroidery, illustration, iron oxide printing onto clay, is just to name a few. So it's very explorative, a similar experience to what they would have in a college setting, for instance, and the idea being that they build a foundation of skill sets that they're able to develop into their year 13 units. So for year 13 itself, it's comprised of two components. So component 1 is starting in the end of year 12. So from the April of year 12, whereby they're able to work with members of staff to develop an initial concept, and then that will go through into the January of year 13. So that is an independent unit of work. Students are able to pick their starting point. They develop a series of observational responses, photography, design ideas and so on, and most importantly looking at contextual references of things around them. So whether that's historical references, references that are in the media, in the news as a stimulus, as a starting point, but in order for them to meet the assessment objectives, it is important that students are able to come with their own ideas and draw upon experiences around them to inform what they're going to look at during that independent unit. Component 2 is the exam unit, that runs from January to May of year 13. And during that unit of work, students will be given a starting point by the exam board, and then they're able to use that as a launch pad to then again develop into their own body of work. And in May, that component is then concluded with a 15-hour exam where students are off timetable for 3 days. They should have, during component 2, planned what it is that they're going to produce. It might be an outcome, it might be a series of outcomes. It is quite open-ended in that respect, but during that exam, students should be able to demonstrate 15 hours of markable work which has been planned, prepared, sampled, practiced during the preparatory component. New to us this year is the A-level photography. So it will follow a similar format. We will have a summer homework with a photography journal following similar themes as the art and design journal. Students for Year 12 photography will explore skills workshops, developing their understanding and use of visual language and photography techniques. This course in particular is more of a contemporary digital course, although there will be other areas such as cynotopes that students can explore the slightly more traditional methods. And then again, moving into Year 13, there'll be two components, the independent component, component 1, and then the exam component, component 2, concluded with a 15-hour exam. For the photography A level, we would like students to have access to equipment. Predominantly, students will have access to mobile phones as opposed to SLR cameras, but they need to be able to explore aperture, digital manipulation through apps, digital manipulation through the actual software of the phone or camera itself, to be able to explore lighting, light balancing, the ability to also connect to Photoshop, so the use of memory cards or memory sticks to be able to transfer and save images as well. But if you would like any further information on that, then please do get through to me via the emails or via Head of Sixth Form. Thank you.